Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful, sunny Wednesday or Wednesday. Yes, even though I am not studying or not doing a lot with the Nordic stuff or well, let me just say this much. I am returned to read more on Christian materials than other materials, because, well, let's just say this much. I still understand and believe in my ancestral bearings and whatnot, but I am not. I'm not living by that standard because it's old standard, and yes, I'm still getting information from different groups and whatnot on Norse mythology and those things. But I am slowly returning to the Christian roots that I was born with. Granted, a lot of the thing about me is I like knowledge. I like reading. I like reading a lot of different things on mythology and, you know, New Age type books. Doesn't mean I have to follow what I'm reading. It just gives me a base knowledge or knowledge of the people that are my ancestors. You know, I have ancestry in, well, if I were to read the Ancestry.com information from top to bottom, my highest level is Welsh. Then it goes from Welsh to Scot, from Scot to Irish, from Irish to German, and then from German to like Denmark and Norway and places where the Norsemen came from. There's no Native American in me whatsoever, even though I have an aunt that... Is she an aunt or is she a second cousin? Well, she's a member of the family and one, by marriage, basically. And she swears up and down that she has a book on the Henson family ancestry, and she's willing to give you a book for like $25 to $50. And I'm like, nah, this is family history. You gave that information to the family free of charge. You don't charge somebody for that stuff. But I guess when you think about it, the time and effort that she probably put in to get this information, whether it's true or not, might be it might be well worth the 25. But I've heard all the stories of, oh yeah, we're supposed to have Cherokee Indian in our blood, and one of our ancestors was a friend of Daniel Boone. Went with Daniel Boone to the Alamo and blah blah blah, and I'm like, sounds like some great stories, and I know a lot of my family, my Henson side of the family anyhow, are great storytellers. I think if my father would have taken the opportunity or the time to sit down and write some of the stories that we can come up with, I think we could make a nice book series or something like that and make money from selling, writing books, which I thought about. My wife keeps on telling me I'm a great storyteller. I can, I can write, short stories and sell them to like different magazines or book companies. But my problem is sometimes when I get too deep into storytelling, which I don't do that often anymore because I realize it's fantasy. There's no need for fantasy in my life. I have a lot of great childhood memories that I could turn into stories or an autobiography if I can remember everything correctly. Um, I just, I don't know. I'm the problem with most writers. Now, I'm not 100% sure this is true or not, but this is my opinion. That it seems like most people who write stories, who spend their life writing books, um, not all of them have families. And for me to be able to sit down and clear my head and refocus my mind for storytelling, I would take too much time out of my life with my family. And I don't want to do that, you know. Yes, me and Jerry have talked and agreed that I should be allowed to have, an hour or two to just basically, especially days at work. Days at work, I don't have enough time to spend a lot of time to myself. So I try to spend, an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to myself. And then maybe 30 minutes when I get home. On weekends, it's a little bit different. If I my desire for my weekends is to get up at my usual time, 9:30, 10 o'clock, put in a full day of working around the house, and then from like 8, 9 o'clock at night to midnight, to be able to just do my own thing if I wanted to. Or, maybe from 6 to midnight, split it in half and spend a couple hours watching TV or movies with Jerry, and then, right before bed, give myself an hour or two to just do something that will help me unwind. That's my thoughts. And that list that me and Jerry made disappeared. Jerry goes, "Well, I remember most of it. I can rewrite it." And I was like, "Well, right now I don't know, because I think what I want to do is write my own schedule and then talk to Jerry about it, because it's not like I want to make it. I don't want her to be involved, but I want to make it feel like that I did most of it. And I think that's part of my problem, is if I'm not doing most of my own scheduling or decision making and whatnot, I feel a little, I don't want to say controlled, but I feel a little less me, you know. I'm doing it for somebody else because somebody else made the schedule, you know. So I'm thinking tomorrow, which is Thursday, when I get home from work, sit down and talk to Jerry about our weekend and see if we can plan out at least the weekend, and then worry about my work days. But I'm just happy that I'm getting, well, I don't want to say getting it my way, because that's a wrong statement. But my points are getting across. Jerry Ann and I are talking about details and things that we need to do. She talks about things that need to be done. I talk about things that I think need to be done, and then I also talk about what I want to do. And I think that's a great way of doing things, because at least we're communicating and getting across our desires for a day or for a weekend or for a time period. It's feeling more 50-50 than one-sided. And I don't mean to say that Jerry was, had to have everything her way. It's just that's the way I felt. And, we have to consider each other's feelings on how things feel like they're going. Otherwise, it's going to feel one way to me and a different way to her, and I just don't want arguments or disputes, or who's getting their way and who's not getting their way type deal. And that's how I feel. That's what I think needs to be done. Um, we have, I should say, looked into couples counseling or marriage counseling, whatever you want to call it. Um, the only downside of that right now is um, we're not 100% sure if our insurance will cover it. And we don't have the money to pay out of pocket. I mean, we're going through debt consolidation to get our debt paid off, get our bills paid down. So we're doing this in hopes that we don't have to go into bankruptcy. The reason why we went into bankruptcy the first time when we got to Missouri is all our money was spent on a combination of her father's funeral, and then Hurricane Sandy came along, and just little things that just piled up that we could not take care of. The move to Missouri was basically paid for by Red Cross because Red Cross offered moving assistance to anybody who wanted to move out of what they called the red line, the area that was damaged by Hurricane Sandy or Superstorm Sandy. So we took that, option. We took that route to get out here. But I'm happy things are starting to work out. Granted, right now, the last couple of days since I've gotten home, what little we did talk about, which I say what little, but it was a pretty good amount. I have been feeling, that's the only word I can use is lethargic. Part of it is I'm not getting a lot of sleep. I think it's also the new medications are causing me to feel a little out of it. I'm usually aware enough to know what I'm doing, but just not totally there. Like, I can function, but I just, it takes me a little bit longer than it used to figure out what I'm doing and get it done. I'm just hoping by Friday, basically, that I'll be back to a better position for doing a lot of things that we need to do. I'm hoping coming this weekend that we can utilize our time to clean up and purge the kitchen area, and then just start cleaning the rooms. And if while we're cleaning the rooms, we come across new stuff that we have to sit there and go, okay, we're going to keep it. Do we have a use for it? Do we have a home for it? If not, we're going to have to get rid of it. Or give me a extreme reason to keep it. Not one of those, we might need it in the future. Well, depending on what we're doing in the future, we don't know what we're going to need. And I can understand Jerry's idealism of keep it because you don't know if you're going to need it in the future or not. But the thing is, when you're keeping it and you're buying more stuff to bring into the house, you're not really doing a purge. You're just doing let's get rid of this stuff so I can get more stuff or new stuff. I understand that feeling because I get it a lot. I'm like, well, I got rid of a bunch of stuff. Now I can, get those books I wanted, or get that item I wanted, or whatever. No, that's not the way to go. I can understand if it's a book or something like that because you can read it. You can write your notes on in a notepad or notebook or something like that. And then once you're done with the book, you can take it down to the library. Give it to the library. Things of that nature. Which I might be doing in this room. In this room, I might be taking a lot of books and just going through them again to see if I marked anything, or if I just, or just how many daily devotionals do I need to have? You know, I can see at least 3, 4, possibly 5 daily devotionals up on my bookcase. How many do I really need? You know, or what I need to do is take one down and start using it, and once I'm done using it for that year, give it away, give it to the church. You know, no, I don't have that much contact with the church, but I will still give them stuff. I'm not ready to return to a established building. I'd rather be at home and do some private Bible studies and maybe sit down with Jerry and Mom and talk about them. Something useful, you know. Okay. I don't know what's going on out there. I'll let her will stop, you know. Okay. I don't know if Oreo is causing problems for them out there or not, but I'm hoping between the coping mechanisms, which I have not had to use yet, I think, it's my personal opinion, this is not an attack on Jerry or Mom, but I think especially with Jerry, this last blow up, that kind of scared the crap out of her, which I'm sorry for. I think she's gotten the idea that she has to learn how to deal with me and talk with me without causing issues. Which, yes, I do agree on that. But I also don't want her to feel like she has to tiptoe through the tulips or walk on eggshells. I want her to be open with me. I want her to be able to talk with me, but I also want her to understand that if I start getting upset, that I am going to need to remember, well, one, I need to remember to ask for a few minutes to get whatever she's saying through to my brain without getting emotional. I think that's been one of my biggest downfalls, is I am literally too emotional at times, and that does not do well for a calm, cool, collective home. It could bring in too many negative aspects, and I don't want that. But how do I put it? Because well, I don't want to use it as a crutch. I'm just using it as an example. Due to me being, basically according to the doctor, having bipolarism, which I kind of wondered about it years and years ago because of, you know, my highs and my lows. But knowing that I have bipolarism kind of helps me understand how to deal or work around it or with it, and not become like controlled by it. I think that's the one word I wanted to use about it, because this situation right now, the way I am right now, which is kind of in a neutral pattern, I guess you'd say. Yeah, it's great to be neutral, but it is boring, to say the least. It's like I feel, what's that? It was a line in a song. I can't remember the name of the song, but it had something to do with being, being stuck with a Prozac pacifier. Prozac was one of those medicines that they were using back in the 70s and 80s to help deal with ADD and a whole lot of other things that they didn't know how to deal with back then. And they just give people Prozac. Problem is, Prozac is one of those things that just numbs your brain and turns you into a brainless zombie, basically. I mean, yeah, it literally passed. I mean, I don't know what I'm on right now, but it literally turns you into just a dull, boring, pacified person. And it's not that I don't want to be pacified, it's just I don't want to feel like I have no thoughts, I have no emotions. I don't want to feel like that. I like my emotions. I just want to be able to control them a little bit better and not have to be on some sort of medication that just turns you into a lump, Because that's what I feel like lately. Especially when I'm still, half awake, half asleep. It takes me longer to wake up. But my nighttime medicine, I have two ones, one for the morning, one for the night. But the nighttime one is the one that they prescribed for the bipolarism. And I'll tell you this much, it knocks me out. I mean, I take that medication and 30 minutes later, I can't even hold up my iPad to play solitaire. So I'm just like, yeah. But I'm hoping that I don't have to be on that medication or this medication for long periods of time. So I'm just like, yay. But life goes on, and I am trying to deal with life as best as I can. I know I've been home since Friday, and I've only done the one video where there was no comments, and the next day I did a video with Jerry, which had comments, and at first I wasn't going to be in it, but I decided to be in it just, I don't know. But I'm now trying to get videos out. I want to get them out on a daily basis, but either A, I forget to do them, or B, I just don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to have stuff that I know what I'm saying about, but it's been difficult. I do want to, before I sign off, the last thing I wanted to talk about is something that I knew was going to happen eventually. And I'm not an instigator. I let things happen as they happen. But from what I understand from a viewer or two that has spoken up to me and informed me that Diane, which I normally don't talk about, but in this instance, because I feel sorry for Diane, I feel Diane's problems, is she has gotten to a situation, I'm just going to say karma has bitten her in the butt. But from what I understand from my people, she is now in a dispute, or basically she's having the same issues I had. All her GB supporters and Josie Z are basically now on the attack on her, on Diane. And I feel her pain because it's happened to me, by GB and other groups that I've had to basically block from my channel. And, well, Diane, I never want anybody to get hurt. I never want anybody to have issues with other people. But in this instance, because your channel was mostly negative towards other people, me and Jerry primarily, Karma decided to basically prove a point. And that point is, if you're going to spread negativity, you're going to get negativity. Now, your supporters might not have been negative because they believe that you've got, some truth to your channel. The truth you have towards my wife and me is, I don't care where your sources came from, it's half-assed. But that's not my point. My point is, if you would have stayed on the positive side of life, or a positive side towards certain people, you probably would not have karma biting you in the butt. But obviously, or at least what seems to be obvious to me, the universe is on, the universe has decided to balance the scales between us. And the universe will use whatever resources it has, whether it uses people, nature, the elements, whatever. The universe has a ability to basically teach us lessons, whether they're hard lessons or soft lessons. The universe continues to teach. Now, I say universe because, to me, God created the universe. And I just don't use the word God because, universe is more neutral. You're not picking a side, you're picking an element or a power beyond our understanding. Now, you can consider it, karma, you can consider it whatever you want to. But know this, Diane, I do know what you're going through. You've caused it towards me and my wife. The GB has caused it towards me and my wife. Joey Z's caused it between me and my wife. From what I understand, Josie Z has already gone through a karma process. Now, you can believe me, you can laugh at me, I don't care. I just hope that you learn your lesson. I really do. And if you haven't, well, I'm just going to stand back and watch, because all the things you've been saying about me and my wife don't matter no more. Your words don't matter to me no more. Negativity does not matter to me anymore. I'm done. I'm trying to be as positive as possible. If I have to point out a few things that are happening to you because of karma or whatever, I will. But I don't mean it in a negative, nasty way. Just because you and I have become, how would you put, maybe I'll use the word frenemy. I don't really consider you a friend, but I'm trying to be friendly. But no matter what friendly words I throw at you, you want to throw negative words back at me or back at my wife. And I think that's why you are in your current situation. but that's my opinion. It's my belief. Anyhow, I just hope that anybody who's listening to my channel, or even listening to my wife's channel, realize that we've got nothing to hide. We've shown our cards. Our cards are on the table. You know, if you want to deny what we've been saying, that's fine, Danny. It's your choice. That's your opinion. But like my brother-in-law from New York used to say, or does still say, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. But I've always lived my life believing that there are good in everybody. There's good in everybody, no matter how small it is. I mean, I will say this about Diane. She's a good grandmother. She takes care of her grandbabies. That's a great quality in a person. But then you turn around and turn your qualities into an ugly black mess of goo when you start talking negatively towards anybody. And it goes for everybody. Any one of us who thinks that we are a good, wholesome person, but when somebody takes a good look at your so-called wholesomeness, and finds out underneath that thin layer of goodness, there's a black mass of goo, because behind somebody's back, you're talking badly about them, or even up in their face. That negativity is hiding right underneath that thin layer of goodness. Now, I've seen plenty of people on my channel, good and bad, and I will tell you this much. The good ones stick around. The bad ones usually scurry off when the light of day comes out. That's fine by me. I'm not here to gain anybody's approval. I'm not here to, tell people how to live their lives. I'm just here letting you see my life and take the journey with me. If I'm opening myself up to those who want to be negative, well, that's not my problem. Because in the end, it's going to be their problem. It's going to come back and bite them in the butt. My thing is, I don't want them to have to deal with that. I've already gone through it I don't know how many times in my life. And I finally realized, I'm not ready. Either I'm not ready to leave this plane of existence, or like I used to say in my 20s when I attempted suicide 3 different times, and none of it worked. And I came up with this conclusion, or this ideal, that heaven's not ready for me and hell don't want me. Which is, it's one of those things where life is a journey. And no matter how bad the journey gets or how good the journey gets, you're not leaving this plane of existence until the big man decides your number's up. Which is fine by me. I just wish I had a clearer picture of what's expected of me. And I don't mean what's expected of me by human standards. I mean what's expected of me by God. Now, one of the things I realized in my last couple of years, Vikings were fearless. They didn't fear death. They welcomed death with open arms. But they lived by a certain standard, a certain code. And they had this belief a lot of different old school religions and even new school religions have this same belief, except for maybe the Japanese, Shinto. Suicide was not the way out. Now, I broke down. I lost all sense of right and wrong. I just didn't want to be here no more. Obviously, I have to be here for something. Don't know what. So I might as well just sit, not really sit back and wait, but sit back and enjoy the ride of life and do what I feel I can do or do what I feel like needs to be done. And I have to worry more about myself and my family and less about my job. Yes, in today's world, today's standards, which suck, that almighty dollar is the most important thing, which, no, it's not. That almighty dollar is just a means to an end. I have seen and read stories of people who get rich and then they become stupid or ignorant or selfish or thinking that they can do whatever they want. People have to bow down to them because they've got that big bank account. No. Money does not rule the world. Money does not make the world go around. We didn't have currency until, the Greeks before Christ had currency. So currency's been around for several millennia. But the thing is, back in the day, not everybody had money. Sometimes they had to barter and trade. That's the oldest form of currency. I got chickens with eggs. You got cows with milk. I need some of that milk for my family. You need some of the eggs for your family. Let's trade. Money is one of those things that just should never have been, because it is literally the root of all evil. Oh yeah. It's one of those things that it's probably one of the reasons why I can't handle money, is because too much. It's got too many things that are not right, are not positive, wrapped around money. It's just like my generation. We learned how to do things the hard way. And a lot of us learned how to do it on their own, because either mom or dad both had to work, or nobody was around to help you with whatever you were doing. You had to learn how to do it on your own. My generation is also a lot of stubborn, pig-headed people, but we knew and understood the value of trust and truth. We also understood the value of a good, hard day of work, earning that money so you can pay your bills. I've seen more and more of the new generations who don't want to put in the effort or have a work ethic. They just want to come in, punch a clock, collect a paycheck, and be done with it. Sometimes I am fearful of what would happen if my generation all retired while this new generation stood around going, I want money. Well, you got to do your job. No, I want money. No, you got to work. Either that, or they're going to spend most of their time with their faces in a screen of one form or another. Yes, I am somewhat guilty of that because I like playing games. If I had a group of friends or people I knew in my area that liked to play Dungeons and Dragons or something that you had to use your brain for, yeah, I would be doing that instead of video games. Yeah, and to be honest with you, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I've played a video game in almost 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. The week before my breakdown, because that was Chaos Week, and I call it Chaos Week because it seemed like every day of that week blended together because of the daytime running around taking Jerry to medical appointments or going to my own appointments, then coming home and having maybe an hour or enough time to grab a quick bite to eat. So it was basically a fend for yourself the whole week. And then by the time Friday came around, I just, you know, if I wasn't working around here at the house, driving Jerry around for her appointments, I was at work doing my job. So when Friday rolled around, I couldn't take it no more. I literally could not take it no more. And that's when things went south real quick. It happens. Sorry, I gotta quit playing with that cup. It's empty. I didn't have coping mechanisms, and I just felt like I you know, puppy, Jerry's medical appointments, my job, a house that needed to be cleaning because, you know, dishes were piling up. I just couldn't take it no more. You know, I'm back home. The only difference is I've got medication, coping mechanisms, and a better understanding between me and Jerry of what I need. You know, granted, the puppy still wakes me up in the middle of the night or butt crack of dawn. You know, that's a puppy. You know, you got to deal with that. I just wish that Jerry would get up and deal with her a little bit more than I am. A little bit more during the daytime, especially first thing in the morning. But it is what it is, and I'm not trying to bash Jerry because she's not doing the puppy thing, because she had to do it the whole time I was gone. But, you know, I will say that Jerry did a great job of training her and doing what needed to be done to get her to, you know, straighten up, you know, learn things, basically. But, you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and get off because almost 45 minutes long. I will hopefully put this on the network today. Or, yeah. Sooner than later. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you guys have a good day. Enjoy. And hopefully I'll be able to get on here tomorrow and do a video on Thursday or Thursday. But until then, you guys have a good day. Don't forget, if you like this little vlog, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put it in the question comment box. If you are not a member of my channel and you want to be a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Then a little bell will pop up, and click on that bell, and YouTube will let you know when I have a new video. Until then, bye.